Hi everyone. I've just finished my interview with Leilani. That will be out very soon. But I talked about the situation from this morning about the hostage release. So I just wanted to do a quick live just to give my thoughts on the whole situation. Now, isn't it absolutely barbaric that Hamas should hand over 4 dead Israelis in exchange for no less than hundreds of prisoners from Palestine? It sickens me that this has been allowed to happen, that this has happened, and my thoughts on what should happen going forward will follow. But the mother and those 2 babies were almost the face of Hamas attack when it happened. The sheer frightened look on the mum's face, holding her 2 babies as they're forced onto the back of a moped to be taken hostage in the most barbaric of ways. Now, Hamas claim that it was US bombs that killed the 3 of them. I call that bullshit, as I'm sure many of you lot do as well. But what's more likely to have happened is that the 3 of them would have been a problem to Hamas. How do they look after a baby, a 4-year-old, and a distraught mother? So the easiest option would have been to kill them. What they must have gone through in their final hours, days, you can't wish that on anybody. And people often say to me when I speak up on these sort of things, well, what about all the Palestinian kids? What about all the Palestinian people? Let me tell you, all the news that comes out of Gaza is run by Hamas. So you only hear what Hamas wants you to hear. I call bullshit on the amount of people that have actually been killed. I call bullshit on some of the things they've said about Israel and where they've bombed. Let's face facts here. Hamas stormed Israel on that day in October, killed hundreds of Israelis, fueled by cocaine and alcohol. They ran amok in local villages, in kibbutz, setting fire to people's homes, setting fire to children, killing people on the spot and taking hostages. This is who the world is dealing with. Radical Islam at its barbaric worst. Barbaric worst. Now, I fully agree with what Israel's goals were at the start of this, was to totally eradicate Hamas so they could never cause this again. But are they going to get to do that? Not under the current deal that they've got going on. How can any deal be that you hand 4 dead bodies back and have hundreds of your people released from Israeli jails? People that have life for doing terrorist acts. I just can't get my head around it. It seems like Hamas holds all the cards. Now, I know that Israel wanted their people back and need their people back. I get that. But don't forget also that if Hamas are not eradicated, this will happen again. That's why I hope in some ways that Trump follows through on his deal, on his reasoning for taking over that land, building on it, and having Palestinians who do deserve a home, by the way, who do deserve a place, but a two region solution is just not going to work. So I actually agree with Trump when he says we'll put some here in Egypt, we'll put some in Jordan, and we'll put somewhere. Isn't it weird though how none of these countries want to take any of these people that they talk about and they rave about, that they need their own land? It's crazy, isn't it? absolutely crazy. Egypt have a wall with barbed wire all the way going through the top, so that these people cannot get over into their country. What I would say is this: once a last hostage has been handed over from Hamas to Israel, then let all hell loose on what's left. Now, I'll probably get hate for that. I'll probably, be lambasted for it, for calling a genocide or what have you. It's not, people. It's really not. Just remember back to that day when girls were being paraded in cars through the streets of Gaza, and men, women, and children were cheering, whooping, hollering, spitting, and hitting those who Hamas were taking through the streets. Never forget that. It's a propaganda machine right from the start. We were told that they have nothing to eat. I haven't seen any people that look remotely like the Israeli hostages did that came out a week or two ago. Not one. They all have fresh haircuts and they all seem to be well fed. It's because, ladies and gentlemen, it's propaganda, and the mainstream media are spreading misinformation. Propaganda. This is what Hamas has planned right from the start. They planned to do what they did, and they had a whole propaganda machine ready to go. That is why they took hostages. It is Hamas that hid in public areas, under church, under mosques, under hospitals, under people's houses. Hamas. So what was Israel to do? Now, I know and I guarantee that Israel has been doing all they can to minimize civilian casualties, but it is just impossible when Hamas are hiding amongst them. Impossible. There's never going to be peace in that region unless Trump does what he said he's going to do, or Hamas are totally eradicated. But Hamas will just will regroup somewhere else. You cannot kill an ideology. You cannot kill a movement. You cannot kill a thought process. And let's remember, these people, these barbaric terrorist people, they celebrate death more than what they do life. This morning really resonated with me. It really got me worked up, to be honest, and I'm sure many of you feel the same. I say that when the last hostage is handed over, then rain down on Hamas and do what you said you were going to do. Because you won't just be doing yourself a favor as well, you'll be doing the world a favor. You'll be doing the world a favor. I will be talking about this on my Sunday Night Live podcast at 6 p.m. on Sunday, and I'll be joined by a young girl, an Israeli girl, who's going to come on and talk about this. She will have a lot better understanding of what her people are going through. So tune into that one. It will be top of the show, because we can't ignore what's going on in the Middle East. It affects us all in some way or another. So that was my rant. That was my rave. I'm really saddened by it all, as I'm sure you are too. Tell me your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree with what I've said, or do you think I'm a prick who's being a bit racist, or whatever you want to call me? I genuinely want to know, because I would hope, and I'm certain that you all feel the same as what I do. It's a dark, dark day today. A dark day for the Middle East. It really is.